Hi, I'm Lou Scott, and I'm an artist. And I do what I call Visual Word Dioramas. These are art sculptures that come with their own educational narrative. I currently have a show at this gallery that will run from now until the end of March. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about who I am, how it is, what I'm going to do, and this way you can enjoy the show more often. I get my inspiration from the sciences and social issues like global warming, women's rights, animal extinctions, things like that are relevant to animal extinctions, animal global warming. Those are the things that are interesting to me, and I get my inspiration for my art from these issues. Now, right now I have 10 pieces at the gallery, and the theme is Women and Animals, a Parallel Path. That's the theme. Now, I began wondering how I got this inspiration. I began wondering why, in the 30,000 years since man stepped out of his cave, why, when in those days of the earliest times, animals and women were revered. They were people that, the women were people that would become leaders. They were the shamans, they were the magicians, they had high offices, they were warriors, and animals protected man. They were revered, and yet, through the years of all the millennials, that has decreased until today. Today, women are still defending, trying to capture equality, and still defending themselves against harassment, sexual harassment, physical harassment, and animals are still dominated by men. Men don't realize that we're supposed to share the things of earth, not dominate them. That's what this show is all about. Now, let me tell you some things you may not know about what I'm showing. I try to show pieces that are remedies for these problems, and some are problems. What are the problems and what are the remedies? For example, this is statistics that is outstanding and it's disgusting. Every 11 seconds, do the math, a woman is harassed. A woman is beaten. A woman is thrown downstairs. She's knifed. She's physically attacked. Every 11 seconds, do the math, it's terrible. Every 11 seconds, they are, and many times, killed. They have to struggle against their physical barrier. People are trying to hurt them. And these people are not gangsters or crooks or people who invade their homes or people who want to rob them. They're people they know. They are men that are their husbands, that are their boyfriends, their cousins, and fathers even. Terrible things. I thought you might be interested in that, and I have pieces that try to delve into that kind of concept. There's an interesting elephants. Let me tell you some story. Elephants are endangered. People out of their greed, what do? They're cutting off their tusks, and for some reason they think that grinding them up, it's good for medical, which is ridiculous. Okay, but how do you do away with it now? Interesting enough. On the other hand, there are farmers who don't like elephants. There's farmers in Africa that were poisoning and killing elephants because the elephants were coming into their garden, okay, and destroying their vegetables in the garden. And what was happening is the farmers were either poisoning them or shooting them. An expert scientist came in and said, that's not the way to do it, I'm going to help you. And what she did, and this is the fascinating thing about animals, elephants, the largest mammal on land, okay, is afraid of bees. So what she did was, around the perimeter of all the gardens, she put beehives. Once the elephants saw that, they weren't going to come near into that farm area. They weren't come near. And when she established all these beehives, she created another source of revenue for these farmers. So there's interesting ways, ways to avoid the idea of exterminating this beautiful animal, because elephants are on a path to extinction. On the other hand, There are more graphic ways. There's a group, a preserve of elephants and animals and so forth in Africa, where they have trained the rangers who are all women in the military arts. These are commandos. They're good shots. They can handle themselves, martial arts, and they post signs telling the poachers that they shoot to kill. Now, interesting enough, the elephants, when they get excited and they notice something is wrong, they pound on the dirt. They pound on the earth, telling other elephants that there's danger in the area. So what these rangers have done is put speakers or microphones that indicate to them when the elephants are agitated. They go out and they capture or kill the poachers. Since they got together women commandos in this particular area, in this particular preserve, the poaching is decreased by 80%. That's wonderful. The method is maybe a little harsh, but it's needed. Elephants are on the verge to extinction. Now, you may not know this, but during the Revolutionary time, women had no rights. When we were signing the Bill of Rights and we were separating ourselves from England, they had no right. They were considered pigs, like animals. They couldn't have property. They were like dogs. They were property of the man. They had no rights, certainly not voting rights, but had no other rights. We didn't know that. The white man was getting rights, okay? But he was the only one getting it. Women certainly weren't. Interesting stories. Here's an interesting thing that they're doing. In Russia, in the Russian steppes, the ground, because of global warming, is shaking, okay, like that. Because the animals that used to be on it years ago, and these animals were elephants, were woolly mammoths. Elephants, they were keeping it strong and sturdy, and they weren't shaking. But global warming, so they want to get the animals back. They have some animals now running down around the ground, but what they're doing, the scientists, they're trying to clone woolly mammoths. They're trying to bring them back, which I thought was fascinating, bring them back to try to make the ground more solid and don't lose the ground for global warming. These are all the things that you will see at this show. My pieces depict, with their narratives, each one has a narrative, pieces depict methodologies to prevent this exploration of animals and women and the problems themselves. If it has a bottom line, if this theme, women and animals on a parallel path, it has this as a lesson. Women, and especially young girls, have every capability. They should never feel that they are inadequate. They should never feel that men are superior. They're not. In fact, my opinion is that women are far superior. So you should be telling your children, your girls, your young girls, that they can be anything they want. Because throughout the history of women, throughout the history of our culture, they were everything. They were warriors, they were legislators, they were queens, they were doctors, they were everything like that. We have to stop and find out why this is diminishing. But right now, we must be emphasizing to our young people, to our young girls, and to the women, that they are just as good, just as equal, just as capable, just as with the ability to multitask as any man. And that's the story. Please come. I think you'll enjoy it. And we learned something, and hopefully you can take away things that you can do to contribute to this situation of women being abused and animals being abused. Thank you.